The Central Club.
What's going on, people? Welcome to the Central Club. This episode is brought to you by Armex, Haven Alarms, Vortex Competitions, and Absolute Vans. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the club, and hit the bell button to be notified of future content. If you remember back last year, Nathan Osman from Rondacun and Taff disappeared in the early hours of the morning in Benidorm. He was later found at the bottom of a cliff edge where the Spanish police said he had fallen to his death. But a year on, and Nathan Osman's truth still hasn't really come out. The family have been campaigning and trying to raise awareness because they believe that Nathan Osman didn't fall to his death, but this is a lot more sinister. And today we have Nathan Osman's father, Jonathan, in the studio to speak to us a little more about what happened to Nathan, the accounts that they know now from the research they have done, and what really they think happened to Nathan. There's also, I want to say now before we carry on, there is a petition that they are looking to get signed. John, quickly, if you just want to tell me how many signatures you're looking for and when is this up?
Well, we had, the first stage was 10,000, which is for it to be recognised with Parliament. So we hit that quite a while ago. I think he's on about 17-ish thousand at the moment. But if you hit 100,000, it's got to be debated on in Parliament. So that's really what I'm hoping and wishing to achieve.
And what is the part? What is it for, this petition?
Basically, I know the wording is a bit strange, and but when we travelled to Benidorm, when we only found out on the way there that Nathan had passed away because he was missing, we basically got there, had to fly knowing he'd gone, and we got to Benidorm. It was like a Saturday evening, and the only information we had was to phone the British consulate. It was me, my wife, and my son-in-law Ross, because he knew Benidorm and the area, you know, to get us around and just having a bit of support, us all family-wise. He phoned the consulate, the British consulate, and we was told, sorry, the office is shut for back Monday. And that was it. That's the only kind of lifeline we had. We were told, to contact them, and it was just nothing. So obviously it was the next day, which is Sunday, and we just left to walk around, really like zombies, knowing that he was gone. We didn't know what happened to him, where he was, nothing at all. So we were just left. So really, we went through our local MP and asked about something on the lines of a petition, because there's so many stories we've heard now about people getting not just murdered, but, beat to the, nearly dead.
Into their lives, yeah.
And it's no support. The police don't want to know. Police are not interested. It's no deterrent for people doing wrong and mugging people. But this petition will put like a department in place that you ring this number and there will be people there to support you and tell you. Because the only lifeline we had was the co-op funeral directors in Pontypridd, which I knew them because they had looked after my dad when he passed away a few years ago, and I knew I'd be using them. And because they had a repatriation team and someone they could phone in Spain, that was the only people that we got information off to tell us where Nathan was, because they took him to Alicante. He wasn't even in Benidorm. And there was a gentleman then that come to our, strange enough, where we were, everything was last minute. Ross, my son-in-law, booked us into like an apartment hotel, and it was actually overlooking where Nathan had been last, the Red Lion, and that's supposed to be not a very nice place then.
And how long since that? How many days was it? Next day?
No, we had to wait till a Monday then. That was...
No, but you were staying looking over at the Red Lion.
Yeah.
How many hours before was Nathan there?
But it would have been the evening before. And then the Sunday we were just left. It was Saturday night, so we woke up Sunday morning, and it was like, it is real, we just had to walk around then, either stay in the apartment, just crying and just not knowing what to do, shock. And just walk around Benidorm watching all these youngsters.
Enjoying themselves.
Yeah, and actually, if Nathan was going to jump out the door or come around the corner and say, oh, they made mistakes. But no. So basically, that's what it's for. It's just to help. Like Nathan will be helping others because he'd help anyone.
Yeah. Okay, so guys, if I know there's lots of petitions out there we ask people to get involved in, but this really would help massively. This is not, they're not really gaining much from this anymore. Nathan's gone. They're not getting Nathan back. But this is a dark occurring trend we are seeing, in the Spanish area and other parts of Europe, let's say, or anywhere abroad. British people dying under a wide range of circumstances. So please, guys, I'm asking you, please sign this petition. We're going to put the petition in the link of this podcast. We're also going to be sharing it on our social medias for the next week. Please, 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 a lot of signatures are going to be needed. I'm not just asking you to sign the petition. Share it. Get your friends, get your family to sign this petition as well, because you never know who will be next. You might not think this might not happen to you or your kids. John, if I asked you, did you ever think this would happen to you, mate?
No, that's exactly what I was going to say. And you hear people say, you see people on the news and say, oh, I never thought it happened to us. And it have. And it could happen to anyone. Really could. Because of all them thousands of people it could have happened to.
And we certainly get more bad luck as humans than good luck. And it was something that you said that really struck me when we spoke on the phone. And you said, some people get, they win the national lottery, they're lucky, but we've had the shit lottery. We've had the fucking, the shit. And people are more likely to get that than winning the lottery in the first place. So really, guys, think about this. Don't be selfish. But if you are selfish, just think of yourselves. This could happen to you. Please sign that petition.
And
John.
there's so many people going through it right now.
Yeah.
In the same boat as us.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. I would like to... We'll get to this point and maybe speaking about other people, because I'm sure lots of other families have come forward. Also with the situation with the page you've got on Facebook, you've got people sharing things. So we would definitely like to talk about that and maybe see if what we're speaking about today, there's a lot of the armchair detectives out there. Some people might be able to crack some things. I don't know. But let's, if you don't mind, and I know you're probably sick and tired of it, could we go back to the beginning?
Yeah. Just... on that, it's I wanted, with a petition, I know I'm going back, but
no, it's fine.
It's, I wanted Nathan to be the voice of others then, because he would help anyone. He was just one of them people who would just, he'd do anything for anyone. And it's like that saying, oh, you're just a number. People are not even a number, because they're not even counted. It's people getting really badly injured, it's people getting killed, and it's just dismissed. And so you're not even counted.
Not even a number.
Not even a number. So I won. That's what I had in my head. I just wanted something that he could. Roy's not here. He's still helping. That's like so. So
well,
that's my thing, and I know we'd want to do it.
You're helping, John. This is you now. This is Nathan living in you. Liam, your mother, your sister. You know, the amount of messages I've had off Liam and your sister, his sister, sorry, Lana.
Lee it is.
Lee, sorry. What did I say?
Liam.
Oh, sorry. Lee.
I don't mind me what he likes.
Yeah, no, listen, all jokes aside, like, this needs to be done because this is just going to happen over and over again. And I would have actually thought, you know, I know the Jay Slater's like the most famous one that we've heard of, you know, over the last couple of years, but you'd think something would have been put in place by now. You know, and Jay Slater weren't the first. This has happened for years and years and years. People go missing and they die in the most strangest of ways.
Yeah.
You know, no explanations, which normally means something bad's happened. And the Spanish police, they look at us like we are just riffraff.
Yeah.
And not everyone who goes on holiday are riffraff.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, they blame it on the British, but it's not. It's so many.
Well, it's not the British.
There's so many out there, and it's like Romanians, and it's Algerians, Albanians, Russians.
The Brits are the prey. Let's be real. The Brits are the ones who go there for a drink.
Yeah.
All the others go there for a monetary gain. Let's be real.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that. Like, you know, let's go from the beginning then. Like, Nathan, why did he go to Benidorm?
He went because he'd been working a lot. He had a full-time job, and he was a welder and a fabricator. And where he used to work before, he'd still do work for him, you know. And he'd need something made, you know. A lot of things were like substations and all like on the gas sites and things. He'd have these big containers with all the instruments in, and he'd make like jigs for them to go on to be transported. So he'd go there before he went to work and do hour or two. So he'd been working hard. He'd been having a bit of a been busy then, and he was 2 boys in work were going away, and they said, "Oh, come with us." But he'd never been away before on his own without the kids. So, and it was only Friday to Sunday, so he thought, "Oh, I'll go," you know. Wish he hadn't gone, but he only had his passport back, I think, a day or two before because he was panicking. So basically, he went on it would have been a Friday, and the next he had phoned his mum and said, "You know, I'm here. Look how nice it is here." And he was probably raining home. He said, "Look at this," you know, and had his phone showing, you know, his sun's out, and then he gone to meet his buddies, and then gone out in the night, and then the next morning we couldn't get hold of him. One answers his phone, it's going straight to answer phone, and got hold of his friends, and they said they hadn't heard off him, so we thought, oh, perhaps he's just having a lay-in or whatever, because he hadn't slept all that night, because he come off night shift. Went straight to Bristol, drove there. He got there in the morning, so he hadn't slept, you know. So it come to about dinner time-ish, midday, we thought there's something wrong. No one could get hold of him. The boys had gone to the police station and said he's missing, and they were just told to go away, come back after. And the thing is, they knew then that he had passed. They definitely knew. So we thought, oh, has he got into a bit of trouble? But we knew there was something wrong because no one could get hold of him. So we booked the first flight, which was from Birmingham. It was about 7 o'clock in the evening. I can't remember driving to Birmingham. Can't remember. We got into Birmingham.
Well, your head was in the shed there.
Yeah, just thought, oh, is it, you know, he's just hoping that they made a mistake, you know what I mean? We got to Birmingham, parked the car. We were trying to find never been there before, and it was a big old place, so we were trying to find another terminal, and then we had a phone call in off my daughter, Alana. And she was crying and said they'd had a message of the police just blunt message. Found your brother, he's dead. Found him at the bottom of a cliff. And that was it. I'm sure if he was thrown into Paul or something, but and that was it. That's all we were told. He's dead. So we had to go all the way to Benidorm, got on the plane, sat at the back, we did, with the crew set, because we were just in a state, obviously. Got there, had a lift, got into the hotel, or, the apartment we had, and then we were told, like I said earlier, to phone the British consulate. And then we were told, sorry, office is shut, phone back Monday. So from there, I think it was either the Monday we had to go to the police station, and that was beyond, because we went there and thought, we go a missing person or they've found someone dead, Didn't really know what had happened, and we were met with, like, the first, encounter was the language barrier. They didn't understand what we was trying to say, and they spoke to us like a piece of shit. Shouted at my missus because she didn't walk through this scanner, X-ray thing. Just told us to sit down. And then we were trying to find an interpreter, and we were eventually took upstairs. I think he said he was to the chief or something, and they were just all speaking Spanish. We could see Nathan's, he had a bag that he had his phone in. And we could see a few bits and pieces.
What actual evidence or photos?
Yeah. And this bag, the boys, the following day, when they were told, they went back after, and they could see Nathan's bag on the table.
When they said they don't know nothing.
Yeah, and they thought, oh, they got his stuff. Or perhaps he's got, got into a bit of a rumble on the way home, and they got him, you're going to bring him out now. Perhaps he's just in his cell, But he wasn't a troublemaker, like, he's just, other people, we got to watch. And he knew then that he had passed away, because obviously they had his belongings, and he still didn't tell him. And the one boy, went to ask what was the matter, and he was shouted at, sit down. So it was anyway, it's more or less our first kind of thing with the police was they had a photo of just before he left. He'd had a name of his oldest boy on his chest, and he had a photo of his chest, and he just slid the photo across the table like that. Is that him? And he was like, yeah. And then we knew then it weren't just we were hoping it'd be, a mistake. But, yeah, and first of all, they tried to say that it was suicide because the place that they found him was, they said it was a well-known place. Anyone wanted to end their life, that was the place to go. So we said, no chance, no. And then it was accidental.
What, all in the same conversation, or is this over?
Yeah. It was like it was more or less. I think we might have got. Sorry for your loss somewhere in it, but yeah, we were given his things, and it was just a sheet of paper and a sign this, and it was like so long. But they were more interested in. They took us in a car, the three of us, with this policeman. He's plain clothes, so I don't know if he was like CID or whatever he is. They were more interested to take us to his hotel room to see if he left a suicide note. So we went to his room, look, we had to go in there, and everything was put out. His clothes were hung up. He hadn't stayed in there, he just put his stuff in, and that was it. But as soon as he seen it wasn't suicide note, he just went. He left us there. And he was the manager we had more sympathy out of. And we were just dumped then. And that was it.
Was the manager Spanish of the hotel?
No, he was Spanish, but he could speak English, and they were pigs, honest. He was so arrogant and ignorant, and just, it was honest. It was like, just chuck it in the drawer and forget about it next, please.
So two things. First of all, with Lana's information, was that on a text or did someone come to the house?
No, it was by phone.
Phone call?
Yeah, phone call. I'm not really sure how. Somehow, a police officer turned up from South Wales Police. I think it's just, it's not that he could do anything, but I think he said, you know, will he speak to me, you know, to perhaps policeman to policeman, you know, he could, you know, tell him a bit more. But he refused to talk to him. And it was more or less like, that's what's the matter, to that. And that was it. That's all we knew. They'd found him at the bottom of the cliff. Don't know where, how, nothing.
So, where in your mind, like, what's next? Like, are you thinking like, can we have his body, or are we trying to find out information? Like, what was next?
We didn't know. They were whatever they were talking about, we couldn't understand. But we were given, and then his card was, someone tried to use his card. But then we had to go to a different police station for that. And
so this here, the £41.71 at the supermarket, Lee.
it was
somewhere in Benidorm.
It was actually two, but you know, they were like, only the other one was 20 quid. But like, that's a crime in itself. And he just, for some reason, we had to go to a different police station.
And this is after he's passed.
It was the same morning. But the best
7:57.
Yeah. But the best reason they could come up with, the police, was police now, mind. You know, detectives. It couldn't have been then because the shop didn't open till 9 o'clock. So
That's even stranger.
And then, like, my daughter and Lee found out the coordinates for where the card was used. And mind you, the police couldn't do this. Police couldn't find this out, but they done it through Monzo.
Is that it?
Well, that's one thing that comes up. It was the name, but the actual place is it comes up as a disused building, but is being used as a gym. And we were told by the other police station that they're all used for either money laundering or drugs, you know, drugs related. So, but everything they've done nothing.
So this has all been you guys, is it? Like, have you had to get like a private investigator involved, or is this family doing your?
No, this is just all Nathan's brother and sisters, like, just delving into stuff. Like, you got the photo there of the last place, well, the last time Nathan was seen alive.
Yeah, so this is here when he's walking up. That's the video, is it? When he's walking down the promenade.
That's on, I think it's at the end of Levante Beach. It's just Benidorm, it's called.
So how did you find this?
Well, Lee found out because we didn't know if, first of all, we had no choice really just to believe what they said because we didn't have a clue. But it was hard to fathom what, you know, the kind of terrain was or where it was. But if you look at that one photo with like all the zigzags on, it's like
that one.
Yeah, you can see from there how it's just that's a long old way, like, all uphill, in the dark. So first of all, we thought, well, what's he doing up here? Why would he go up here? He's not that. And he was an outdoor kind of person.
Was his hotel in any of that in that picture?
No, the hotel's further over again.
Over this side.
Yeah, that's the end of the new town then. So you got all that beach, Levante Beach. His hotel was actually the next place over.
Yeah.
Because in a report, they actually tried to say that Mirador, Nathan's hotel was called Cloppy Mirador. But if you put in Mirador, it comes up as mountain. Well, my son-in-law, when we had Nathan's phone back, he looked on his phone, to see for any clues. And he had put in Mirador to see, what it said. But the police used that against us to say, oh, Nathan had searched Mountain Mirador. So he put two together and made like 6. And then said, oh, well, he must have committed suicide because he searched for, mountains. But it was my son-in-law done that, the day after. So that was like, but from start to finish, it's been nothing but...
How long was you in Benidorm for? What was you like? When did you decide to go? And what did you gather before you left?
No. I actually... well, this is only from the co-op, only from the funeral director, from nobody else.
Yeah.
Not from the British Embassy, British Consulate, Spanish Embassy, nothing, no contact at all. The only help we had was from co-op funeral directors in Ponty who would phone the repatriation team in like wherever they were, Alicante, and they would find out. So we found out that Nathan, he's actually took him to, they call him Institute of Medical Research, but this is a hospital in Alicante. But he was taken then to a chapel arrest in Benidorm. So I actually went to see him. It wasn't until the Thursday. So that would have been like, we were there like 5 days. Just wandering around, not knowing what to do, pass the time. You know what I mean? Just couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Just in shock, really. But
so, what is the official statement they said had happened? Then the police, like, what did they say happened to Nathan? And then, kind of, what have you gathered since?
On the report, when we finally got hold of his case file, because they wouldn't release it, we had to have the MP kind of intervened through the Minister for Europe and someone else in the Spanish government. We got hold of it, and it was nothing in it. They'd closed the case more or less before we'd left the country. And they had put down that Nathan, they said he would have been extremely intoxicated, had confusion, fatigue, because he hadn't been asleep.
Mm-hmm.
But he was capable of walking hour and a half's walk all uphill. It was like into nowhere. And then he said he's gone up there, fallen asleep in a hall, woken up, and because he's half asleep, he's just fallen off the end of the cliff. And that was the best they could come up with. It was an off-duty policeman on a jet ski the next morning that found him, which is suspicious, I think.
Always off-duty copper.
Yeah, just happened to be there on his jet ski, and he had seen him. It was nothing. We've had advice of the CID over here, and they said nothing was done that should be done, no procedure, no like nothing was cordoned off, and then it's like, it was CCTV on the top of this, where the top of the cliff was. There's like villas there. It's 27 cameras, I think, on the route. And they've said only 3 were working, but they were facing the wrong way. Or,
If you wanted to have a look at it, you can explain that.
yeah, they were facing the wrong way. We said, if you've been in an altercation, they said, we've asked the people, and no one heard him scream, so it couldn't have been an altercation. I said, well, not everyone screams, you know what I mean? But Lee had contacted the owners of the villas through Airbnb, and they weren't even, they were unoccupied at the time. So the police
The
even saying,
Airbnb's just there on the cliff.
yeah, on the one, look, you can see, on the one, you can see it comes to, more or less, the road goes right to the edge of the cliff. So what we believe is someone's took him up there, look, and then is the one on you, and it's more or less the road goes right to a turning circle on the end. It's like a viewing point, someone wants to take photos or whatever. But the last time we went over Benidorm, we all went up there. Lana and Lee and Ross had been up there before they'd done a bit of a thing with S4C, because Lee's a Welsh speaker, but he was filmed in English as well. And we'd seen it, and you go up there and even the hotels are this big, looking back down. So you can't hear the sea.
Really?
It's they reckon the 200 metres, like 600 odd foot. But everything, it's just been an excuse or a presumption, or, it's a lot of shit. Honest, just.
Yeah. What when you went and seen him, obviously it's a big drop. So was there any significant or particular injuries that may push you to think something else?
It's hard to say, really, but I've asked the coroner, like, if someone has pushed him or
if he's had a fight, is it,
Yeah.
was it that hard to tell? You can even tell, like, if he's had a fight before or...
I asked this to the coroner, and I said, well, if he'd had an altercation, because there's obviously someone else involved, would fall in like 600 foot mask any injuries then, you know what I mean? And I was told, well, no, if the pathologist was any good, he would be able to find out. But so much corruption is the pathologist, because no DNA was taken, we've been told. At the moment, the CID over here now are trying to find out what categorization they did, like post-mortem or autopsy they call over there. Because if it was just an accident, which he was put down to, he'd like just have a normal run-of-the-mill
He wouldn't
kind
even
of
look
thing.
like, yeah.
But otherwise, they would take fibres and they would take,
Because they did do that with Jay, didn't they, on that documentary? They did, like, they brought him back to the UK, I think, and they done, like, a autopsy there. Another autopsy to find out.
Well, the trouble we had was they even offered for Nathan, or tried to push for him to have cremated over there.
Over there.
And then I just scheduled away everything, all evidence. That doesn't allow you then to have a second post-mortem. And we know 100% that there's other families from Britain have had their loved ones killed, and they've had a second autopsy, and it's come up as foul play. And everything is put down to accidental.
Do you think that's because of a reputation of the holidays, you know, the holiday haven of Benidorm, which hasn't got the greatest anyway, but is it that, or do you think it's deeper corruption? Like some of these people might be involved, or they're scared?
Definitely. So many stories, you know, Facebook can be a pain in the ass, but it's good for some things. And then my missus put on it one night, you know, just to ask, put it out there, has anyone had any problems, you know, mugging or being beat up in Benidorm? And honest, they come out the woodwork. Everything you can think of. It's just people being kidnapped then, just dumped on waste ground, waking up, you know, beat up bad. And then, you know, all this stuff took off and people having money taken in their accounts. People have took us, boys have had like 70 grand, 86 grand or one, but they said he was still alive. But we think the only thing with Nathan was he put up a fight then, you know what I mean? Because he wouldn't, you know, he wouldn't take no shit off no one. He worked hard for his money, you know what I mean? And he still had his phone on him. He would took his phone, you know what I mean? If someone had. So we still don't really know, but the last, more or less, you've only got to look at that and to see the distance from, you know, it's like walking a Benidorm twice, you know.
Yeah, I was going to say, the last known footage of Nathan was like 4 or 5. What's the time, sorry?
409, I got it tattooed on me. Look.
Okay, so 409.
409, that's the last place, the last time we seen him alive. And then the same with the police. He had to be airlifted from where he was. He was so remote. They had put down that he had died 10 o'clock in the morning. Well, the last time that we went to Benidorm, I think we went on the 8th of October, just gone. We had to collect Nathan's phone, which the police had asked to have back. I don't know why, because that was a waste of time. We had to go to the courts because the courts were holding his phone, because over there, it's the courts tell the police what to do. It's different over here. It's just... So we had arranged to... me and my wife Liz hadn't been before. Since we went over this the other time, Lee and Alana and Ross, I think he'd been over 4 times. Either to give the phone in. They have, the first time they went over, they pleaded more or less with the police to reopen the case. And they had all this evidence with photo evidence, with things from his card that they couldn't or didn't want to find out. And first of all, they wouldn't reopen it, but it took, my daughter had to cry. She was crying with not with upset, she was crying with temper. And said to she's a police, like, what's wrong with you? But he wouldn't look at it. He's like, if I don't look at it, he's not there, like. And she shoved it in front of him and said, this is my brother. You know what I mean? And he looked like that, and he flicked a few things over, and then he was like, oh, no, impossible. Like, And she said, look, and she more or less, you could see that they dug up enough stuff then that he was like backed into a corner. And then he agreed to reopen the case because it'd been shut down, like I said, within days. And they were coming home. And on the way back to the airport in a taxi, my daughter looked at her phone, she had an email, and it was off the court. The chief prosecutor was asking to see him. And apparently it's unprecedented. It's never been known before for the chief prosecutor, which is, as far as it goes, like justice-wise with the court. And they wanted to have a meeting. So they had to turn round and headed for the court or whatever. And there, it was Said she was appalled, ashamed of the police and all this and everything.
This is the chief prosecutor.
Yeah. So she was actually...
It's okay, mate.
Well,
Take your time, mate.
she said even the chief prosecutor was crying and saying how appalled she was and how this shouldn't have happened, the way we were treated. So they come home more or less with her, you know, batting on our side, like she was in our corner. But when we went over in October, like I said, we had to go and get his phone. And Nathan's mum said, hang about now. It was, but we just couldn't get it out of our head. How was he, what's happened? He hadn't gone up here on his own. Because he was, like I said, he was outdoor. He was always out walking the kids. And he'd always have the little one. He'd have one of them, you know, like the backpack that you can put them in, you know. And he'd be on the front. When he was little, he'd be on the front. And then when he got a bit bigger, he'd chuck him in the back. He's always up the waterfalls, you know what I mean? Up Brecon, or he'd be here, he'd be on the beach.
Fit?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was in the gym all the time, you know what I mean? He was, yeah. So we got his phone back, and like I said, my missus said, if he'd walked up ahead, he'd have loads of steps on his health app. Because we'd walk the dogs, and we used to try and do 10,000 a day, innit?
Yeah.
So he thought, oh, when we got it back, and we were hoping now they haven't found it, the police have found it, and they rubbed it off or deleted it or something.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
no, they hadn't. So we had it,
That's
and
brilliant.
it was like 500 odd steps on it. So
For that date.
yeah, it went back, you know.
Which would make sense. Being in Benidorm, hotels close, bars wrong. You're not going far, are you? You're
No.
going. It's only a couple of steps.
From 409, when's the last time we knew 100% he was still alive, because you see him walking past his penny cam. It was like 500 odd steps.
Have you? Sorry to cut off. Like what I would have done. Like maybe Lee. I know Lee, and they're really on it, but I'd imagine myself. I'd set my app to whatever it would be on the day, and I'd just walk to the pub and around, and then till about 409. You see how many steps I would get to. Like, do you know what I mean?
Well, it was 500 like after 409. You know what I mean?
Oh, you can even tell the time.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
So, and where they said he had passed away like 10 o'clock from 409, look, it's nearly 6 hours. You
What's
know
he
what I mean?
been doing?
To try and put the fill the gaps in. It's a long time, 6 hours. You think, well, so we had all this time to try and, to cover, to see what he had done in between that, But 5:02, everything stops. So, and after that then it's like, I think it was like 16...
It's less than an hour, that is.
16 steps. And I think that might have been where he'd fallen and landed. Or, I say fallen. We don't really know what. His wallet was missing, so we knew he'd been robbed then. But because he still had his phone, this is why we're thinking he's put up a fight then or whatever. Because otherwise, everyone you hear of, the phone is gone. You know what I mean? Everyone gets everything off of your trainers, your clothes.
That's the smoking gun in the phone.
You know what I mean? Some trainers, boys, got only 700-800 quid. You know what I mean? So they'd have your trainers, your phone, your jewellery, everything. Well, his wallet was gone. We know someone had his card because someone tried to use it. But it was like they reckon if he's been on a slope and he might have moved, but more or less we know that he passed away 5:02, like, because he doesn't move. So we had this information, and we thought it shows that he didn't walk up it. Impossible. It's not enough steps that he walked. So
How many steps was it left from there then to...
well, it was after 409. It was only 500 odd. So he'd walked so far then, and then after that. But it even gives the step count as well. So it was 7. So I think either that day or the next morning, I think it was the same day in the afternoon, we had to go to the court to have a meeting, second meeting. Only the first we had, but it was the second that the landlady had been to talk to her about, but obviously we had this new information now. You know, I know it's no happy ending, but we were kind of buzzing.
It's a win, isn't it?
We found something.
Small win.
That they say, you know, you weren't stupid enough to walk up here like you were trying to say. And from day one, we thought, and as soon as we seen how far it was like, oh, come off it, you know what I mean? But she looked at it like, and we've got a lawyer abroad, which we've got to have. And we've got a translator as well. So the translator, obviously, had to tell her what to say, you know, what he was saying and vice versa. But straight away, she looked at it because we've had it all printed out in the, you know, from the hotel. And she said, this is 700 paces per minute. And she said, I go to the gym on the running machine. That's no one can run that fast. She said,
so although the steps are not in, it's counting the paces though of where they go.
Yeah, so she looked at it and said, that's a vehicle. For you to be going that so many paces per minute. So it doesn't just give the step count.
It gives you the distance it's travelling.
It gives you the pace then. So it would have been 700, you know, steps a minute. She said, no one can run that fast. So,
well, no, you do 1,000 steps in if you're doing 10,000 in a day, you think how long it takes you to do that?
Yeah.
Walking.
But that was
almost 1/10 of that in a minute.
That was the fast. That was how fast then you would have been moving.
Well, yeah, it's 10,000 steps in 10 minutes. It's not happening, is it?
No.
Almost 10,000. Yeah, exactly.
I barely mind, you know what I mean? In the dark. But since this happened to Nathan, when we went up there the last time now, they put all lighting right up to the top. Brand new lights have been put up, which you straight away you think, that's a bit suspicious.
So it was pitch black, was it, before?
Yeah. And we've done everything. We knew it was a crescent moon on that night. So if we'd been a full moon, you know, you get a full moon, it's quite light. But it was a crescent moon, which is, you know, just the little one. So it wasn't, you know, it would have been dark or whatever. But she said then, he's been taken up there in a vehicle. You can say that, you know, guaranteed. So, and whereas we had all that time to kind of think, what's he done from then till that's all just blown out the water now.
Well, yeah, you're not filling up the gap of 4 till 10. You've confirmed this 5, and it would make sense that, you know, in that hour. Well, how many steps was it before it did pick up the pace? Did you say another?
No, it stops then, and then
so
it does. It gives like
trying to work out how long after that camera did he walk before he was picked up. Like, was the robbery swift? Was it 10 minutes? Was it half hour? Was he with him for a what? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just trying to work out that.
It is all written down somewhere because it was all like calculated and that. But well, she identified. We knew, but as soon as she looked at it, she identified that that's too fast to walk. Is a vehicle, and she said that herself. And then she said, because we had asked, you know, why is it we can identify that, and we just Joe Public. And your policeman have had his phone to download and try and find thing, And they couldn't think of it themselves.
What have they not thought about it, or have they just
I
thought we're
think
not going
I
to
d-
investigate it, let them leave it?
I think that's it. Or they just like
Strange.
they
I bet the
just.
chief prosecutor was shocked.
Well, she said she was ashamed. She said, I trust the police to do the work I ask them to do. So we are waiting now. She said she was going to have a meeting with them. And we are still waiting at the moment.
So this chief prosecutor, she's obviously local to the area. She probably knows a bit more about previous cases as well, and
Well, she actually said, I don't know if she slipped up, but she said she was already working on, I think she had 4 other murders, which I don't know why she said that. I think she might have slipped up. But she was committed to helping us to find it out.
Could be the same people doing this, see?
It's got to be. It's all the stories you hear.
Yeah, let's
People
talk
saying
about some of the things, because it goes quite deep as well, don't it? Because, I've heard of cases abroad of people missing, people like trying to cremate and, organs missing. I know it sounds a bit mad and stuff, but some of the stuff I hear...
Yeah. Well, we know my missus have had 2 days ago we had a phone call off someone, and they've been on BBC this week on radio, BBC Radio Walsall, so people might have heard it. But their son, brother, he went missing. And they found him 3 days later. A local man had found him in Spain, Loretta Mar. Only about 45 minutes from Benidorm, I think I've been told. And he was found by a local walking his dog, just more or less dumped by a wall. And he was told that he'd gone for a walk and he had a heart attack. So at the moment, they can't even get his body home. It's been 11 weeks. So they want to have a second post-mortem, because we know of 2 other families that have had same thing. They've been told accidental, and everything's accidental. Nothing is ever, otherwise.
Loretta Mars, I used to go there as a kid. My nan used to take me there, and I went there with my family and stuff. And the last time we went there, we had my family and my mate's family. We were scrapping, and we were young. My old man was scrapping, but we were scrapping with these French, Moroccan, French Algerians they were just in the town, like doing whatever they were doing. We had a big mass brawl in the Robin Hood pub there, and the whole strip was just, it went off. But a couple of days later, those same boys got done for something quite serious, like, and it's just you just know the gangs that get attracted to these places.
It's no deterrent.
It's frightening, mate.
It's all the stories, people getting beat up and then they call the police and they don't turn up, or they turn up and then they try and they encourage people not to go to the hospital. And they need to go to the hospital. But they say, no, hospital, go and sleep it off. Because if they go to the hospital, we've been told, and the hospital thinks it's suspicious, they got to report it to the police. And then the police have got to give you a crime number, which they don't want to do, because they just don't want the hassle. It's just all, honest, they come out the woodwork. There's another family, which he's an expat, he lives out there, and they were told he had an embolism, but it turned out he was attacked. They got CCTV of 2 people going into his house, coming out. His friend found him the next morning, dead in a pool of blood, and they had a second autopsy, and they've just said, he had embolism. He's hemorrhaged or whatever, bled out, and then had a second autopsy back in Britain, and he had died from an head injury, and while he was unconscious, his nasal and mouth cavity had filled up with blood, and he's just suffocated and choked while he's been unconscious. And they are told accidental. But then he came home without his heart and his left kidney missing.
Oh, so there's organs missing as well. This is what I mean. It's deep. It's so deep. Like we said, it's not even a number. These people are looked at like cattle.
And it's just all dismissed and covered up. And but they told the family we kept them for research.
Nah.
And it's, no permission.
You don't know if that's them who have taken it for monetary gain, or were they already taken by some other people and they've covered up for them. It's so corrupt over there, you don't even know.
No. Well, that one family from West Midlands, what do you do, like, when someone phones you crying and saying, what do I do? They're asking us, what to do. And we got the police saying, we can't, you can't have his body back. He can't be repatriated because his body's just, gone too much, and you know what I mean? It's just...
what happened with Nathan?
We're going to cremate him.
How did you get back? What happened with Nathan?
Like I said, I seen him in his chapel arrest, and you can imagine his injuries falling all that way, you know what I mean? But I had to see him. I had to, and I do it all over again. And the thing is, when he was younger, he was ill. He had a problem with his heart, and it was a miracle we kept him in, because we were told to get the family together twice because he wouldn't make it. He was supposed to have an operation and they put it off twice. So he, you keep your kids safe, and then someone else hurts them, And although he was 30, he was still our youngest.
Yeah.
And he was awesome. He was awesome. He had so much to give. I know I'm going off a subject now, but
It's okay.
we went once down to where he worked, and he was so respected. Seeing grown men crying, they used to work with him, and it was like, and he was funny. He's funny as and it was like a running joke down there that he was on his final warning for making people laugh. Because all the boys, he said he'd go in at the start of the shift, and you'd have to walk through, and it was a big place where they put all the trains together, all the trains for Wales. They come in like a flat pack and they go out as a train.
Wow.
And he was so clever, and everyone thought so highly of him. And he just had so much to give. Like, he had so much to give and so much he had to take as well from life. And you know what? I forgot what you said. I forgot what you asked me.
I said, did you bring him home? Like,
Yeah. Everything in Spain, they don't rush anyway. So we had to wait. I think it was like all the paperwork we had was like, interim kind of stuff. And, and the other stuff was to follow. But then they were waiting for some paperwork, which you've got to do, it's like authorization, for in transit and that. And then we had to wait. They had to find a flight then. So yeah, we knew then. We had gone home, I think, it's Thursday, which was something like 3rd or whatever, 2080 past. I think I seen him. We had to wait until the 3rd. And then we came home because there's nothing more we could do. But then we were told then, this is the same co-op funeral directors in Ponty telling us that the people got all, that they arranged a flight then, and he would be going back to Cardiff, and then he'd be picked up there. So we were told that, they would be there then to bring him home to Ponty. So
That's good.
And then he went, obviously, to, they funeral directors, but he went and seen him again then. So, yeah.
You looked after him more, I bet, as well, tidied him up,
I know it's spoiled believing in it, but it's just, I don't know, it's just you get one crack at this life, and it's just gone, someone's took it.
Were you speaking, weren't we, about, you said on the Facebook group, someone messaged saying they know who it is, they know the car, and because it tried happening to them or something. Do you still believe that, or?
It's people who live out there who said, "Oh, it's not far from here." It's like gypsies. I'm not saying gypsies are,
Romany
gypsies, but nothing against gypsies. Like you got a lot of people over here, like travellers, you call them, but I'm not saying that but they well know one then.
There's a gang over there,
It's Albanians, it's they might not be gypsies, but there's a place, they live in the tents in the woods, that kind of thing.
Fucking hell.
And it's on Facebook all the time, and people being pickpocketed, and there's Romanians, Russians, Albanians, there's mafia there.
It's like a free-for-all over there, isn't it?
It's definitely organised crime.
Well, there's that organised crime, but for me, it's like taking the enjoyment so much out of holidays, because it's like a labyrinth it's like a gauntlet, of getting home safe in one piece, because these people, you're going there to let your hair down and enjoy yourself and have a drink with your mates.
Yeah.
And there's sober eyes watching you all the time, praying.
Looking for anyone who's vulnerable.
You know what it's like on match day down the Millennium, the pickpocketers, the homeless. That's the day to make your money, and it's the same over there, but every single day. And there's people out there who don't value life the same way we do here we say a civilized Britain's crumbling in itself, but there's people who have grown up with fuck all.
Yeah.
Life's cheap to them, and the British are looked at as, we're hated, but also we're perceived to have a bit of money, and and people say we're troublemakers. We're the victims, I think, most of the time. I'm sure there's some German families who have been affected. There'll be French families, there'll be Dutch families, but the British are.
Well, in the news, going back a few months ago, it was this boy from Sweden, and that was all in the news. And he had got, they put him in a car, or someone had stopped. Someone had stopped to ask him directions, and it seems to be the latest trick is, say you're lost, someone gets out their phone to go on Google Maps, and they'll just pinch your phone off you. Well, they tried to do that with him, but he got dragged under the car and he got killed. All for the sake of a phone. But it was about 2 weeks ago that they'd arrested. It was either 2 or 3 men had been arrested, but he was Swedish. So, I don't know. It might just be all just,
What are you hoping to get out of this? I know we're trying to get the petition signed, but are you trying to find answers for Nathan still? Do you think you will get the answers, or is this something that you're not really interested in?
I've thought this to myself loads of times, like, what are you doing it for, kind of thing. You know, well, we might not ever find out, but I can't do nothing then, you know what I mean? If his kids ask me when they're older, like, oh, what happened to Daddy? What happened to me? What could I say? Like, I don't know. I never found out. But it's just, it's gone more just as, where's people's morals? You know, he deserved to have an investigation. He deserved just, it's all a lot now with human rights and stuff, innit? I think his human rights have been.
Well, where's the human rights in that? Yeah,
He deserved the respect, and
it's a good point what you're making.
just the dignity, really, of
Very good point.
Because there's also something said in when he was being airlifted. He said in the report that an unidentified individual had run over and to see what was, you know, what the incident was about, or, you know. And you think, well, you nab him and grab him and say, what do you know about this then, you know? But nothing. So what
It was good enough to be jotted down in the report.
But, you know, if it was something over here, you wouldn't get 50 foot near the place because it'd all be cordoned off and it'd be a crime scene. And because, like I said, you look on our one photo, and the road more or less goes right to the edge of the cliff.
And in places like Spain and that as well, like more European countries, they're not as tight on health and safety than we are, innit? I bet it is just a drop, innit? There's no safety, I bet.
No. Well, like I said, we went up there, and it was all like, you know, the eyes they put there, like the mountaineering, where they put him into the rocks, you know. There was things still there, where I presume was where they, you know, had to rescue Nathan or whatever.
Abseil down.
Yeah, it's like you know, the stabilizers or whatever we call them, you know, to the supports.
Well, like you said, if it happens a few times up there, then it could be.
And it goes right to the end, and you think, well, and everything's time sensitive, the same as the CCTV. 28 days over there is the law. You got to delete, you know, anything. But there's masts right on the top. They're like mobile masts, or, you know, transmitting. I don't know if something to the airport or aircraft, but there's, you know, the big masts, and it's cameras on them. And if a vehicle would have to go past there, because you got to drive past there to go to this end of this cul-de-sac, and they just, you know, well, what do you do? Well, you tell them, and they haven't looked at them, because we've got a screenshot of an email from the owner of one of the villas saying, I've got the CCTV. So she's looked at it, and otherwise it would be, oh, I've looked at it and there's nothing on there. It's, you know, just for you to know. But she's got on there that I've got the CCTV, but I can only release it to the police. But getting them to go and get it is another thing.
So there is CCTV?
Yeah, it's mental. It's just...
Oh, mate, it must be so frustrating.
27, you know, cameras. And then, like, I don't know, it's just... So at the moment, more or less, what they said is just blown out the water, because that's he's gone then.
So, murder investigation now, it's been opened up a bit.
Yeah, potential murder, they say. But like I said, we didn't... with the police over here, at the start, they couldn't do nothing, because he was out of the jurisdiction, which is fair enough. But then he was going back a few months ago. I think it was 9 months after. I had a phone call saying, "Oh, this is South Wales Police major crime." Because it'd gone on, because it was reopened, and I think it was on Sky News, that it was because of the information that my daughter and son had found, not the police. It was reopened as a possible.
It's just ridiculous. So, mate, that it
homicide.
takes Sky News or any media to cover it for them to then go, "Oh, well, we're going to open it."
So because then it been a highlighted, it went back into the
Public
email
interest.
inbox for the CID. So then they made contact and said, "Oh, sorry, we haven't been able to be there before now." But even they've had all the stuff that we got, and they're like, "No, it's not," because the lady who we've had, where they've been marvellous, and she said everything. Like when the first time I spoke to her, I think she was dealing with that stabbing of the boy in Redfern,
Right, I see.
boy from Porth.
Yeah.
So although she had all that to deal with, she was just trying to help us. Because she said at the end of the day, she's like detective inspector, but she said I'm also a mother. So I got kids, I know, you know what I mean? Everyone, it seems to touch everyone.
Yeah.
Because where people say, "Oh, I don't know what to say to you. I don't know what to I said, we don't know what to say to each other. Don't worry about it, you know what I mean? But even she said it didn't start with, it always start with a hypothesis. So it should have been suicide, accidental, foul play. But they haven't gone for that. They've gone for that first. They've gone for suicide first.
Yeah.
And then, murder, no. And then accidental, close the case. It was
not even murder.
no, nothing. They picked the easiest option for themselves, for the tourists not to be scared off. Because there's so many people on Facebook that said, "Oh, we've been going to Benidorm for years, but we've gone this time now and it's changed, and we won't be going again because we've either witnessed something." There's even women getting smacked in the nose and all this stuff took off them, and they call the police and they don't turn up. Or if they turn up, they'll just drive past, have a look around, just have a look as they go past and drive off. Is it honest? It is beyond.
Wow. Is there any in those photos? Is any others you might want to show or tell, or do you think we've covered everything?
Well, we took all this. Like we got all, like you said, all that. When we had the report back, it was just a load of crap. And then we've sent them back 17 pages of discrepancies. Why is this? Why is everything? We want answers for.
Of course you do.
And
yeah.
they've sent 17 pages back with the presumptions, excuses. It was just everything we've asked or pointed out. They've
had an answer for.
They've given the blinging
And it wasn't
excuse for it, and some of them are blinging. You know what I mean?
ridiculous.
My grandson could blinging do better. Everything is just presumptions, and not like it was like it could have been or would have been. It's unbelievable. But there now, it's cameras plastered all over.
Where's that to?
That's on the top. You got to drive past them. That's all cameras.
That's at the top of the cliff, is it?
Just as you more or less turn into that road, it goes down the cul-de-sac. You've got to drive past it. And we've asked the last time now. We've been told they are on a database because they're company owned. You know what I mean? They are managed by a firm and an alarm firm or a CCTV company. But to get the police to go and have a look, it's honest. It's and they just use the distance, look. Or they'd say, "Oh, it's been rubbed off already." How do we know? You know. Same as we've been told over here. If they say something, they've got to prove then that, if you say you've looked at it or you've done something, you've got to prove. Where's your proof then that you've done it? Everything is just covered up.
Yeah.
It's another person. They're all contacting my wife for support, and what do you do? Like, would you go? There was one going back to 2019. She said my son was abroad. They said it was accidental. And you won't believe, when I heard it, I thought, you're taking a piss. Like, he died because he fell on a knife. He fell on a knife, and the knife went through his artery in his forearm. But when they had a second post-mortem, he'd been stabbed 40 times.
What?
He'd been stabbed 40 times. And he's saying it's accidental. So they expected people to believe that he's fallen on a knife and he's got up and fallen back on it 40 times.
It's funny, innit? Because it's like, yeah, you might not care about my son or my daughter. You might not care. You might think he's a piece of shit. But it's so naive for them to think, or daft, that these people don't have people who actually do care for them, and they do have family.
And your emotions, it's just like, every day is just like, every day is a nightmare. It's just, and then some days it'll be, I feel like really vengeful and need to get,
Yeah, you don't even know who it is. That's the thing, isn't it? That's the who has done this.
And then it's like on that we see him there. We've gone through it. Like Lee, he must have. The only way I could kind of like visualize where he'd been and what it was. I went on Google Earth and I screenshotted like every 30, 40 foot and screenshot it and then forward on the arrows to go up to this place. And it's you think, how thick do you think people are to believe that? But he looked on it just to see, and it must have took him hours and hours and days looking on it, and it's only like from there to there. You only got that bit.
Yeah.
And it shows him, coming round there, walking, and then he goes past.
Yeah.
And I remember him phoning his mother and saying, I found him. And like, what do you mean?
How mad is that?
And, you know what I mean? He's under there. And you just wish, why did he go? Like, why didn't he not go? Why? It's like,
You have to, listen, like, whether you believe in it or not, he obviously meant to go that way for you to see that.
And then after that, there's a particular red car. All the other ones you see, just, they just go really slow. But this red car just hurtles through there as if they're looking or they're after someone. And it's only 21 seconds after. And you're thinking, because on his phone, when he was on his phone just before then, say 15, 20 minutes or something, or half hour before that, he was on FaceTime to one of the boys. And some woman comes up to him, like, I don't know if he was like a pickpocket or, prostitute or whatever, and he could do this saying, "Oh, leave it out," or I don't want to leave it there now, love. I don't want to, like, leave me alone or something like that. But is that someone who, like,
Yeah,
got a cob on end and they've, like, someone has gone after him? But
is there rumours in Benidorm amongst this, like, of anyone?
Yeah, last week there's a boy that he said, and he even said it was a dark grey or black Audi A3, and he said that they stopped. Like, he said, I was walking home and they stopped. He said, I'd had a couple like that, but he said, I didn't know what I was doing, like. And then someone said, same friendly, "Oh, do you want a lift? I'm going your way." you do, don't you? You say, right, you know. You expect people to be the same nature as you then, you know what I mean? Just trying to help someone out. And then he said he got in and they were like friendly at first, 2 other blokes in there, and then he turned on him. Dumped him off on waste ground.
Fucking nuts.
Just, well, you give him a bringing tuning, like, and he was left for dead, like. And I think that's the one, they had 70 grand or something up to his bank. And he even knew the name of the person who had tried to transfer money out of his account. And he was an Algerian, Mahmoud something. And he gave it to the police. No further action.
That could be the same guy who's...
Exactly. And what you do, like, is... honest, they come out to the woodwork.
It's terrible.
It's supposed to be a kebab place there. And they renowned, like, for... And it was a girl said months ago that she went in there to have her food and she had it taken over a long time. And he was on the phone. And then they locked her in. They were going to bring in rape her or something. They locked her in the shop.
Fucking hell.
But she managed to get out somehow. And then they were trying to get her in a car outside. And someone from the hotel or whatever just shouted at them. And she just managed to get away. But
crazy. It is frightening, John, honestly. What we do with all our guests usually is like we ask them to say something down the thing, but I'd like to ask 2 things. The first one would be, and it's this camera here, the one facing you. The first one would be to the people for the petition.
yeah.
If you could just say something to the people in your own words about the petition, hoping they'll sign.
Like I said, I'm hoping it's not for us. It's no good for us now. It's too late for Nathan. It's too late for our family. It's for anyone else. Anyone, and it don't have to, it's not just Benidorm. It don't matter where you go. Shit can happen. You know what I mean? And it does. It's just, so it'll only take you 2 minutes. And it's just, what we come up against when we were there, we had no help at all. Nothing at all. We were just chucked in to Spain, knowing that Nathan had gone. And it was just no help at all. So we've done a petition. Hopefully we can name it like Nathan's Law. And it's to help others. It's to have... I know the wording is odd and it says about being murdered, but if it's murdered, it covers everybody. If you put like people who've been attacked abroad or mugged abroad, it's not going to cover things. So please, I wanted to get to 100,000 because they got to do something in Parliament and they've got to talk about it. They've got to debate it. And it needs to be a department that people, if you phone, there's someone there to help you. So please, I need, I need help. We need help. And it's for other people. Nathan, be their voice and help others. Basically, that's what it is. You know what I mean?
Thanks, John. And then finally, if you could, like, you never know who will see this. You know, this will go across the world. But if there was anyone in the Spanish police or anyone involved who have any sort of power in Benidorm or Spain, if you've got a message for them.
It must be someone out there that knows something. I know they just say like a rat will rat on a rat, you know what I mean? It's got to be someone. If it's police-wise, it's anyone who's a parent, really. You don't expect to lose your kid. Like, it's just the worst. It's like I said, I've lost my dad. It's just no comparison. No comparison. And all our family, like, we've been given a life sentence. This is, the rest of our lives is defined on what's happened that day. It's never going to be the same. Never, things are never going to be the same again, and we're all struggling. And my other kids having to do this themselves, having to investigate and go through post-mortem things to find out his injuries, to get discrepancies. It just, it's people paid to do this. They shouldn't have to do it, and how it's going to affect them. Like a chief prosecutor, she even said she's due to have a baby, and she said, if I'm on maternity leave, I'll still come in the office if I need to. And she said, I'm committed to trying to help you find out. Or, but like I said, he deserves the dignity and the respect for people just to take the time and just a consideration. He deserves that. Even if we don't find out who it is, it's just...
John.
If I had a wish, you'd be 5 minutes in the room with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, yeah, we are stuffed. We are stuffed. So,
John, thanks for coming and sharing your story, and, you know, hopefully we can raise some awareness on this and hopefully get the signatures you need. Guys, if any of you know anything about the situation with Nathan, if you know anything about any of the stuff going on in Benidorm or anywhere else around that area, please get in contact with myself or Jonathan and the family, Lee, Lana. They're on the Facebook page, which is
Answers for Nathan. If you go on Answers for Nathan, my daughter or Lee might put something on there, but sometimes if they've been struggling,
yeah,
she might not. She put something before. I haven't put nothing for a while because it's just heartbreaking. You know what I mean? Something, when he died, part of us died along with him. Like, but and I got to be honest, I'm so grateful to you because Alana, she messaged a load of people one night. Some people that, you know, quite high profile, people I'd watch, you know, and you were the only one that's come back and reached out. So, in fairness to you,
nah, mate,
thank you from all my family.
No, John, honestly, mate, like it's natural to do this, mate. You know, this is wherever the person's from, but especially being around the corner in Pontypridd, you know, we are a local, we're all about supporting local people, and, you know, Nathan is one of us, you know, and he's one of us, and we got to help each other, we got to.
Well, I used to work in emergency services, not saying any names, but I asked them this week. I give 30 years of helping others, and I asked them, please can you help me? And I was told by email, sorry, because we're a public sector organisation, we can't show any bias, you know, to personal petitions. And I thought, well,
fuck you.
Cheers for that.
Nah, do you know what? The world we're living in at the moment is bent as fuck. People tied up in their clothes, in their yellow or red tapes, whatever. Listen, this is where it's at, and people make the change. People, as long as you've got a Facebook account, an Instagram account, a phone with a camera, you are the difference. And I'm asking you guys, please help. Please sign that signature. Help us get this in Parliament. Try and make change for other families. You know, let's do this for Nathan. And you know, like I said, anyone got any answers, any information? You might not think it's anything. You might have been there that weekend, and you know, you might think that what you know or what you've seen might be irrelevant. Pass it through, because it might actually be something that can crack the whole thing and really put, you know, Nathan's family in some sort of peace with answers, but also find these fuckers who are doing this. You know, it look, there's bad people all over the world, but if we can try and get rid of some, you know, we're doing the right thing. Thank you all for listening. Really, really appreciate it. John, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
We'll keep in touch. If there's anything we can do, we will. And yeah, thank you all. You know, let's hope and pray. Let's stay hopeful. God bless. Stay safe. Stay positive.
Stay central.
Stay central.
The Central Club.